Hey guys, this is Martin from AI Security Expert, and today I want to show you a feature whereby you can make the LLM print any assumption it makes in its decision making. So think of that like, for example, in the near future, and well, it's already in place in many industries, but LLMs will be able, based on your input, to trigger some actions, right? And that's mainly like an API call or something like this. So, for example, you tell the LLM, hey, order me a pizza or something. And then the LLM will go out, will call an API endpoint of a service which offers delivery, for example. And then basically the LLM needs to have some context around that. I cannot just go in and say like, hey, LLM, get me a pizza, because number one, LLM needs to assume loads of different things. Like first thing, it needs to assume from where, right? Like which pizza place, like where you're physically located. Do you have a favorite one? Um, does the price matter? Like all these kind of things, right? And then it also needs to assume that I want a salami pizza, or I want, like a capricciosa, or I want this, or I want that. So that's a feature called assumptions. And what I want to show you is, like, for example, you can prompt the LLM and you can put something like this in. Like you can say, like, always include an assumptions underscore made parameter, basically, um, at the end of your responses, where you list some of the assumptions you made in your response. So this is quite helpful also when you play with large language models, to actually see why it is reasoning in a certain way, right? So I put this in here, and then it says memory updated, right? So you can see this here in ChatGPT. It says memory updated, and then it responds positively. Hey, I got it, and I will include this. And now, when I, for example, say like, what's the weather like in London? And then I ask it, so it does its thing. It goes out, it searches. It has searched 5 sites, right? And now it comes back and gives me like an overview. But now you see at the end there is like assumptions made. So it has assumed that the user is asking for today's weather specifically, and it has assumed the need for detailed weather information. So that's correct, right? Like all this is correct. But as you can imagine, if you give it like more complex tasks, like my pizza example from earlier, it needs to make certain assumptions. And then you can obviously, like, ChatGPT has this memory feature now, so you can actually update it and say like, hey, that is completely incorrect. I mean, in this case, it was correct. I meant London in the United Kingdom, but there's also like a London, Ontario in Canada. And so what if I want the weather from there? So your assumption was wrong, effectively. But it took the one which is more um, known to people, which is London, UK, right? But this is just something which you can play with. It's not directly security related, but it will come in handy in the future if you have to understand the reasoning or how it made a certain decisions and what kind of assumptions it made. And then you can actually go in and say like, no, this is incorrect, or you should, in the future, you should assume it's not London, UK, it's London, Ontario, or something like this. And this can be quite useful. So I hope this makes sense. This is just a feature which is not that widely known, and I just wanted to make you aware of that. Thank you very much, and have a good day.